So this texter that said, who would have thought an exhibition of hockey would be more intriguing than the NBA All-Star Game years ago? Here's what I'll say about hockey. There's a reason that this Four Nations face-off has been so damn good. It's because it's very evident that the fellas out there carrying the name of their country across the chest want to win it. Team Canada wants to prove that hockey is still Canada's sport and that the USA are the little brothers of North American hockey. But I don't think you need any evidence more than the first 9 seconds of Team USA versus Team Canada on Saturday night. 3 fights. The NBA All-Star Game, I don't think, holds as much relevance anymore because the boys out there aren't super concerned with winning or losing. I think a big part of the reason why is the fellas out there don't want to get dinged up. Nobody wants to blow an ACL in an all-star game and lose out on dozens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars because you can't come back and you're never the same player. If we're being genuinely and intellectually honest about it, playing an all-star game is an unnecessary risk for LeBron James, for Steph Curry, for Anthony Edwards, for Victor Wembanyama, for Chris Paul. You can go out there and have a career-altering, potentially ending injury that could impact your ability to make tens, if not dozens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars for the rest of your career. Kind of makes sense not to play in an all-star game. So why is the Four Nations face-off compelling? Because they want to win it. Here's 6 hockey players that opened up what is effectively a rivalry game, Team USA versus Team Canada, and were willing to literally get punched in the face, not even playing the game. Going out there and dropping the gloves 3 seconds and then 6 seconds and then 9 seconds into a game is completely unnecessary. But hockey's a different breed of sport. Hockey's a game that I would say maybe more than, not maybe, hockey's a game that more than basketball, more than any game except maybe like rugby and American football. You want to establish physical dominance and you want to do it right out of the gate. Now with NFL football, with college football, with rugby, you do that by being physically stronger in the game itself, by having your O-line blow the D-line off the ball, by having Derrick Henry run through somebody's damn chest. In hockey, you quite literally punch the other guy in the face. These guys wanted to win this glorified hockey exhibition that replaced the NHL All-Star Game so bad that in order to establish their dominance on the ice, we had 3 fights in 9 seconds, completely unrelated to winning the hockey game, where guys in the Stars and Stripes and guys in the Maple Leafs wanted to go punch an opponent in the face to establish that they were the more physically dominant hockey team, and then hope that that translated into the game itself. How do we get the guys in the NBA All-Star Game to care about the NBA All-Star Game the way that the guys in this four-nation face-off care about winning the Four Nations face-off? I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. Is it possible that you just emulate it? That the NBA All-Star Game from this point forward is Team USA versus Team the rest of the world? I don't know. Y'all, we're in Greenville, South Carolina. We're in Spartanburg, South Carolina. Hockey ain't exactly the bread and butter down here. And yet, on our text line this morning, I've got bleep Canada 4 times. Just straight up Canada. Why? The answer is because the boys were willing to drop the gloves and punch each other in the face to establish dominance, to then win the hockey game. And by the way, it's not like that was the championship game. That wasn't a trophy game. That was a game the loser could still very well, and at that point, probably was going to still be in the championship game. They wanted it, and unless you can establish a reason for the NBA guys to feel the same way, the All-Star Game is nothing more than just a fun, goofy thing to do on a Sunday night. I've said on the show 100 times, like the Venn diagram of politics and sports, there's not a big middle wedge, but there's definitely a middle wedge where those 2 circles overlap. Canadians are booing the national anthem because of, let's just call a spade, the way that Donald Trump is talking about Canada right now. Oh, we'll make them the 51st state. They're a very proud country. The same way that if Canada's prime minister came out and said, you know what, we're going to take over America, we'd be like, hey, go bleep yourself, Maple Leaf, you Canuck. They're not going to be the 51st state. You all need to stop. But there's a reason the Canadians booed the national anthem. That gets into international diplomacy. At the end of the day, there was like 13 guys wearing Stars and Stripes on the shoulders. They don't care about that. All they heard was a gym full of Canadians booing the national anthem. Yeah, we're going to go out there and whip that Canuck ass, is the way that they approached it. That's where that emotion came from, and it translated to 3 fights in 9 seconds and then a damn good hockey game the rest of the ride. Here's the reality. The NHL has gotten more talk out of this Four Nations finals than the NHL has gotten in a half of the regular season combined so far. A good season, by the way. Like a good NHL season. As a hockey dude, I'm very much enjoying it. They've had more talk in the last 4 days than they've had in the last 80 days combined. They're going to lean into that. But do you know what the result of that is? Players for Team USA that care. Players from Canada that care. 2 teams of players that care. Beating the hell out of each other for 60 minutes of ice hockey. Subscribe. I'm all in. The NBA gave me 4 teams of 8, 3 teams of 8 2 teams of 8 dudes, 2 teams of 7 dudes who were like, hey, I got nothing better to do on a Sunday. Go out there, throw a couple of dunks down, play zero defense, knock down a couple. Steph Curry shooting half-court logo shots, which, don't get me wrong, was probably the most entertaining thing about the entire game. There just was nothing to it. Oh, and by the way, Draymond's crapping on it. Kevin Hart's crapping on it. The Inside the NBA on TNT guys are crapping on it. Everybody with a microphone was crapping on it in the broadcast of it. So I got everybody over here in charge of talking to me about this game, crapping on the game, and then 32 dudes that very clearly are like, whatever, I'm here, I might as well have a little fun. And then over here, I got a dozen dudes that are willing to get punched in the face, not to win the game, but to just set the tone for the game. Which one of those 2 things is more compelling? This isn't hard to figure out. Give me an all-star game where the guys want to win it, and I'll watch it. I've already told the wife, Thursday's our date night. We go out to a wine house. We get a nice Chardonnay. I'm a Cabernet guy. Sip a couple of glasses of wine. Listen to a young lady play some classical music on the piano while I eat a fine selection of cheese and crackers, and we do a date night. And I said, babe, I'm very sorry. We got to move our date night this week because Team USA and Team Canada are going to beat the ever-loving hell out of each other, and there is no way I can miss it. She's like, oh, because you got to talk about it on the show. I'm like, no, I may never bring this game up on the radio again. I got to watch it because I'm a sports fan, and these boys are beating the crap out of each other because they want to win this game. It's sports at its best. NBA, Adam Silver, figure out how to make your all-star game look like this exhibition for which there are no prizes, there are no points, there is nothing more than pride in the name on the front of the jersey, not the back, and we'll all come running back to you. But right now, you ain't got that, and the NHL does, and the NHL has dominated sports talk for a week because of it, and on Thursday night, they'll do it again.